Okay. Okay, got it. All right, so recording started. Hello, everyone. We are super excited to have an amazing guest. He is the go-to in the email space of open rates and all the things email. And so if you guys know, I did a webinar this past week, and my open rates are getting worse and worse and worse every time. And I know I should have asked Troy what to do, but in true Carlotta fashion, I just went and started sending a bunch of emails and I probably have spammed everyone. So we are super excited to have Troy on today. He is amazing. And guys, if you don't have an email list, you got to have an email list. You have to be able to send an email, be able to raise money for a business, be able to print money on demand, be able to send your course out to everyone, to be able to do whatever it is that you need done. I know that you know, I know I'm big into acquisitions, and like I needed $125,000 for this acquisition and I didn't ever go through with it, but I simply made a post and I had like probably at least 15 people who were like, I'll give you $125,000. And so that is the impact. You don't realize how many people are following you. You don't realize how many people love you. And an email list is a way to make that connection and do amazing. So welcome to Troy. Guys, you know I don't have a lot of guests on here that don't talk about investing, taxes, or acquisitions. So this is going to be a real treat because I feel like this is something I needed this week. And if I needed it this week, then I can imagine some of you will too. So Troy, you can take the floor.
Thank you so much, Carlotta. I appreciate that. And yeah, so if you guys don't know me, I'm Troy Erickson, known as the email paramedic, because I revived dead email lists. And maybe you've seen my ads. I'm the guy that's like, hey, you can copy and paste this thing in your email, get out of the Gmail promo tab. In some cases, double open rates, which is all true. And it's really funny though, Carlotta, you mentioned $125,000 because the presentation that I put together is more just like general email marketing. It does include stuff about the promo tab, but it's how I made my client an extra 125 grand like per month by fixing 3 things. Now, let me also say that it's a very big client. They have like products in GNC and like they're very massive. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen and kind of talk about some of these things. Can everybody see it? Can everybody see this?
Yes, we can see it. We can see it. Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. And then I think slideshow will do the trick. Awesome. So like I said, I call these the 3 deadly email marketing mistakes and how to fix them. After fixing them, it added $125,176 a month for a client. That's a picture of me speaking at the Copy Accelerator Mastermind, which is like the place for all things copywriting and email and sales letters. So I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second by fixing those mistakes. I'm also going to show you, because everybody asked me this question, how do I grow my email list and how do I grow it fast? So I'm going to show you 3 ways that I do that as well. 2 of my clients have added 9,000 people to their active email list in literally 5 minutes of work. I know it sounds crazy, but it'll make sense in a little bit. Sometimes this thing is a little laggy, but so that's me, the email paramedic. I come from like the direct response world mainly. So like a lot of these people that I mentioned, you may or may not know if you're in direct response, but Taylor Welch from Traffic and Funnels helped them go from 12% open rates to 27. I generally speak in open rates because obviously I don't want to go sharing a whole bunch of people's revenue without their permission, but you can kind of associate open rates with revenue for the most part. There's a pretty close correlation. The sales mentor, Chris Evans, 5% to 13%, Rich Sheffrin, 9% to 14%. VShred, a really big company, Jason Capital, 17 to 37. Paul O'Mahony, if anybody's in Europe, you probably know him. He's a like speaker, pretty big in internet marketing and like mindset and all that. He went from 10% to 19. This thing's a little laggy. Apologize, the slides are jumpy, but Copy Accelerator Mastermind. I actually found Carlotta through Tom Clayson, who was in that one. He was like writing something and he's like, hey, check out Carlotta. And I was like, okay. I made the news a few times online and I got a nomination as a top 20 copywriter in the world. And that's counting all copywriters, not just email. And that was according to a guy who's working closely with Traffic and Funnels. So I'm really good at turning lists into 6-figure per month machines. You know, a lot of them, like this list did 309,000 a month. This one did 125. This one did 680, 406, 179. And the reason, you know, I show all these stats, this is one of my list managers of my agency, some of his results as well. The reason we show you this is to show you that, you know, I know what I'm doing, and to establish like, okay, these are like actual proven things, not theories. So the little case study here that I want to show you about this client is, as you can see in the period ending January 24th of last year, they did 54K from email. The period ending March 24th, they did 179. So that's the $125,000 boost. We took over on January 25th. 2 months later, they're making 125 extra grand. So it did take 60 days to implement this stuff and make them money. So like worst case scenario, like if you do 10 times worse than them, you're going to make 12,500 extra dollars a month. If you do 100 times worse than them, you're going to make 1,200 extra dollars a month. So I don't know where you are, but I just want to like show you that even like if you just follow what I teach and you do 100 times worse, like you're still going to do pretty good, which is wild. So if you're ready for mistake number one, I always tell people in a presentation, like, just promise me one thing. You're not going to be somebody who watches and doesn't do anything. I either want you to watch this and you do it all yourself, because I'm going to fully equip you to do this all yourself. Or you're like, hey, Troy, do this for me because I don't have a clue how to do it. So those are like the options there. Okay. The first mistake is not sending enough emails. And I call it email paralysis because it's just like, and I'll show you the symptoms here actually. So if we go over here, I don't know why this thing is so jumpy, but not knowing what your email list wants to read and buy, low open rates, clicks and sales, feeling like you're out of ideas, right? So you've got your list, you're like, oh, I don't know what to send today because I did like a sale last week and I told a story a few days ago and I have like no idea what to send because I used all my good ideas. If you're sending less than 5 emails a week, or you only send on special occasions or sales, that's not good either. If you ever think that people will be annoyed by your emails, you're actually wrong, and I'll show you that here in a second. If you fear people unsubscribing, you're actually wrong about that too, and I'll show you in a second. And deep down inside, you probably know that you're leaving a decent amount of money on the table that I'm going to show you how to get back. So first of all, I'm going to show you some bad examples of emails. So as you know, like most companies, like especially big companies, it's like you watch these big companies and e-com stores, and they'll just send you an email with a big picture in it. Like it's subject line and you're, oh, that sounds cool. And you open it and there's just like a huge picture with like sale. And they think that's how you're supposed to do it, as if sales are the only thing that people respond to. And I can tell you, like for my clients, I hardly ever run sales. I'm not saying we never do, but we definitely take advantage of holidays, but that's about it. Because that's not how you speak to somebody. It's not how you relate to somebody. And even if you tried to relate to somebody, it's like a lot of times people write emails. This is an example of one that was in one of my test accounts where we test emails for clients and like go over things with them and on how to improve. This person wrote an email and it was like, hi, Valentine's Day is all about love, but things have changed over the years and the celebration has morphed with the times and become a celebration of all types of love. And there's a sentence and it's like, have you ever been inspired by love? And I'm reading this email and I'm like, where is the point? Like, when are we going to get to the point? And then it's just like garble, and then all of a sudden it's like 20% off. So like that's how most people send emails. This is a very like average email, in my opinion, of the ones that we audit, and it just doesn't make sense. And I get it. Like if you're not a copywriter, you're not like an email marketer, it's like you don't really know how to speak to people where it does make sense. But as a reader and a recipient, you look at that and you're like, yeah, that's really not pushing me to buy at all. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're selling the right things. Before we even talk about email copy, you got to make sure that you're selling something that your audience actually wants. I suppose we could use something like Carlotta as an example on some of these things. And just a random, not saying you're doing terrible.
Have you seen the emails I've been sending?
I haven't actually. So the funny
Okay.
thing is, I sent you a message yesterday, but this guy on my team, he told me that you've been sending marketing emails lately, and I don't see them because I'm on your client list. So that's why I haven't seen them. But anyway, the one thing is like people always want more of what they originally bought. So if people come on your list and they want to like hear about like ways to save money on taxes, You shouldn't be emailing them about other things that like, oh, your friend told you that like he has this Facebook ads course that you want to promote, or it's really good. You like the first thing you should talk about is like literally more how to save on taxes kind of stuff. So like if you did 3 ways to like not go to jail and not pay taxes, your next presentation or the next thing you sell should be like 3 sneaky investments you can make to dodge the IRS, like something interesting like that, where it's just more of the same and there's a lot of curiosity and hooks in there. The next thing you can do is, create a solution to a new problem that has been created. So I don't remember exactly what you were selling on the webinar because I fully trust you to do everything for me. I think it was more of like like an intro product. So let's say they buy the intro product and there's a new problem, right? Like they have all this information that's like Carlotta's just telling them like, hey, here's how to save money on taxes. The next question they have in their head is like, oh gosh, like how do I do this? What if I label it wrong? What if the IRS comes knocking? What if I forget to account for something? And that's where the upsell comes in. It's like, all right, well, the new problem is like, this is way too hard to implement, so we're going to do it for you. And that's just another example, which is also bigger, better, and faster because you're going to save a ton of time, you're going to save a ton of money, and it's actually going to be done correctly. Done for you is another good one. Communities kind of like this right here. We're all on a Zoom call. We're not just like, Carlotta doesn't individually talk to us all the time. It's like, hey, there's a group setting, there's other people, there's real business owners that are all involved. And like when you join that community, it's like hard to let go of. If anyone has like monthly subscription models, if you ever upgrade somebody to a lifetime model, that's a really good option. Obviously, if you're a service provider, maybe not a good fit, like not like pay us one time, we'll do your taxes for life, but more like, hey, if you are in like fitness and you have a fitness coaching program or a group or a community, like odds are the stick rate on that is like 4 or 5 months. But if you get them on lifetime, you're collecting cash, like even at a discount, let's say you sell them like a lifetime subscription and you charge the equivalent of about 1 year. Well, guess what? You just collected a year of monthly subscriptions and they only really did something for 4 or 5 months. So it works out for you, and you can give them like a bonus or a discount or whatever. The next one is opportunities to try you. So like, let's say you sell high ticket. So I sell high ticket because a lot of times people have really messy email situations or they're going to the spam folder, and I fix that for them. But I'm also smart enough to know there's a lot of people out there who are like, hold up, like I'm not going to pay you that much money until I know that you're good. So what I do is I create these little info products. They're about $10 and they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. They use the info product. They're like, you know what, this guy's legit. And they come back later and they pay more money. I've even gone as low as $9, upselling to 3,000 later on, and it like works tremendously. So definitely do that. The last piece there is acknowledgement. So one of the best things you can do is talk about featuring people, like let them be in the spotlight of a presentation you're doing. Boast about them on your social media, talk about them on your website, give them opportunities to be seen and have the light on them, because that's what humans want, most humans. And just remember that email's a never-ending funnel, right? So like after somebody leaves your ClickFunnels or whatever you're using, like it doesn't end right there. Like it keeps going and going and going. You're constantly upselling them things that are going to make their lives better and easier. So before I go to the next thing, are there any questions on that?
So a lot of people do like personal store. Okay, yeah. Well, this is next. Okay, I saw the thing. You were like the personal.
Oh
like
yeah. I'll get to that. This thing, okay. I don't know what I did wrong with the slides, but it's jumpy. Anyway, so you have to sell them what they want, right? So like the easiest way to find out, like believe it or not, is just to ask people like what they want, or ask them for their problems, right? Like, what is business? I have a problem. You have a solution. I pay you for the solution, so I am no longer in pain. So if you literally just send out an email, and this is really good for like re-engaging old lists too. If you're like, hey, first name, what's your #1 problem or question about blank? Reply and let me know your name. And then blank is literally just what you do, like whatever your niche is. And people will reply. And you don't want to make like a survey monkey survey or anything like that, because those options are like predetermined and they can't actually type out what's in their head. So you want to just leave it free form where they reply to the email and you read the replies. And some people write amazing stories about all their problems, and you'll notice a lot of people have the same problem. And then you just create a product that solves that problem. And you'll learn so much about your audience if you document this, and it helps you make presentations, it helps you sell stuff, it helps you upsell. So for me, I always know off the top of my head, people ask me, how do I get higher open rates? How do I grow my list fast? What words do I avoid so I don't go to spam folder? And what do I say when I'm out of ideas? Maybe some of you had those same questions, because I know that because it's calculated. And you'll see all these things are in the presentation because that's what people ask me. Next thing is Amazon suggestions. So if you sell products and you see the thing at the bottom that's like people also buy, well, look up your product on Amazon and see what people also buy. It's really easy. Same thing for reviews, not just the positive ones and what people like and the things you should be talking about that they like in the email, but also negative things. People will be like, I hate this product because like XYZ. Well, maybe your product doesn't do that. Maybe you have a solution to that problem. And you can think of ways to solve those. You can also Google, let's say you're in the financial niche, like you coach people on how to trade stocks. You could literally go on Google and type in like Reddit, I suck at trading stocks. And you'll find forums and threads of people talking about how much they're struggling and what all their problems are. And you can take those things and you can talk about them. Just be like, hey, the other day I was on a forum and I saw this guy talking about how he always sells at the bottom instead of the top, where he thought there was a support line there and it broke through and he keeps losing money. Well, I'm going to show you like the XYZ method to knowing when to buy and sell, and use that. And lastly, memes. I know some people here may have like a more corporate-y kind of business, but memes are actually like super important because memes are relatable, right? Like we've all laughed at them because we can see ourselves in that situation. We're like, oh gosh, like I've been there. So like relatability is a huge thing because again, that's why we don't, like the email I showed you earlier with the big picture, that's not how you relate to people. Like when people see those pictures, they're like, this is a company trying to sell me something. But when you just tell them stories and you like share funny things, they're like, wow, this is a human. So it's just really important to kind of like keep those things in mind. Okay, so now types of emails, because you always want to send emails that are interesting, but you may not know exactly what is interesting. So there's going to be about 5 types of emails that always work. And I say always with a grain of salt, but like time and time again, you can send emails like this and they'll work. So emotional stories, like I mentioned, you're primarily going to grab testimonials and you're primarily going to grab stories about situations where, something didn't work out for someone. It doesn't have to be with you. Just make sure to specify, like if you're talking about a testimonial and it didn't have to do with you, then, don't tell people it did. But telling stories and just like getting emotional and talking about like the side to people where it's like, maybe somebody was struggling to pay their rent. Maybe somebody couldn't afford a surgery for their dog and they had to like put their dog down and something like that. But then they like something happened and it saved the day. And like, oh my gosh, all those emotions were like released and like the problem is solved because of something that, you helped them do or something similar to what you do. So like a lot of people were probably like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he went for the dog. And it's like, well, most people don't do that. And most people don't actually go into the emotional side. They just hit you with like facts and benefits and like things that all of us have seen before and we're not moved by because we're humans. Like as logical as some of you may be, deep down inside, like there's something that you're deeply passionate about. And you have to pull that out of people. And that's the same reason why I was saying you shouldn't fear unsubscribes and you shouldn't fear that you're going to annoy your subscribers, because here's the facts. If you don't send emails, how are you going to make money? When you send emails, you're going to always offend someone. When you offend someone, because like people are easily offended these days, you guys know that. When you offend somebody, that means they're not a good fit. Why do you want to appeal to the people who are not a good fit for your business? Sure, maybe did you pay for that lead? Yeah, but it's probably also a person who just like typed in a crappy email and was like, oh, let me just see what this is about. And they never intended on doing anything. So like you have to speak to the right people and repel the wrong people, because if you try to please everybody, you're going to go nowhere real fast. So curiosity, that's probably like the main one. Like, talking about some kind of new method or like how somebody did something crazy or went from zero to hero. Contradiction is when you take something that other people are talking about and you flip it on its head. So for me, if I'm an email marketer and I send an email about why open rates don't matter, you're going to be like, what the heck is he talking about? Like, of course they matter. But then in the email, maybe I talk about like, hey, you should focus on clicks and sales above open rates. And here's how to like get more clicks and sales from your emails. Then you'd be like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. current events, if there's anything going on, not just like in the world, like 2020 had a lot of those, but maybe there's something going on in your industry that people are talking about. Maybe you have a football list and Tom Brady just retired. Like, you better be talking about that because people are going to open that email all day long. And then the last example is me to you emails. So these are ones that look super personal and really just give off that vibe like, wow, I'm being directly spoken to. Like, I feel like I can relate to this person. Like, I can reply and it's a person, not a company emailing me. So what I'm going to do really quickly is open one of my creative vaults of like really personal swipes. This first one was for one of those companies that you see on Instagram that they're like, hey, you can like get in the news. So we used to just be like, hey, you can get in the news, like, and just present them with a bunch of facts about like more people will see you, you'll have more credibility, blah, blah, blah. And there's like bullet points. So now we took this creative angle and like 15 volunteers needed. First name, I'm looking for 15 volunteers who have the time to talk to reporters and get published in some news articles coming out soon, which also means they should be able to handle potentially 3 to 5 new clients and a bunch of new followers or fans. If you've got the capacity, all you have to do is click the link below, read about the opportunity, and sign up. We're capping at 15 for now so we can keep track of your results. Just make sure to report back as soon as you get published in the news. One of my recent success stories, Easy, closed a $26,000 deal because of the article he got published in. And then we put a screenshot of the article and him saying that he closed the deal. So I hope that you're able to be one of the next 15 volunteers and get published in the news too, because there's so much good that can happen. Getting in the news is free, but there's a small cost to cover the fees we pay to give you this opportunity. Make sure to click the link below and save your spot while we still have a few left. So another thing that's really important too with your offers, like, don't just sell things to people. What we were doing is basically giving them like, we're showing that what the product was is a way to find free news opportunities. So I don't know if you guys have heard of a site called like Radio Guest List. I can't remember the exact site we talked about here, but there's so many sites where you pay like a small subscription fee and they show you a whole bunch of like people who are looking to feature other people in their websites and their news and like everywhere. So instead of just saying like, hey, we're gonna like sell this course, we flipped it on its head and we're like, okay, how can we make this more interesting and really use a different angle? You can be more direct too if you wish, but just like the creativity is what we're going after here. That's another news example. Here's a good example. If you sell products where you can upsell somebody who buys from you, the email is called RE Shipping. And it says like, I would recommend like Jess from the warehouse is the from name because you can play with the from names too. And it's like, hey, first name, Jess from the warehouse here. I know it's a little bit off, but Jess from the warehouse here, your order is getting ready to ship, which reminds me, forgot to ask you, would you like us to throw in an extra bottle or two of product name at a discount? If so, just click the link below and use code new customer to save 10%. You'll also get free shipping because we're going to put it in the same box. We find that people who order more tend to get better results because they never run out of product name or lose their progress. And if you, as always, if you ever have questions about your order, how to use the product, or want to give us feedback, just reply. I read every email and can't wait to assist you. Easy money right there. That is so simple. Let's go with another one down here. This one, actually, let's go with this one. This one is a contradictory email that like is very dramatic and juicy and like really grabs people. I wrote this one for one of the biggest biz op companies on YouTube. They're one of the biggest spenders. And sometimes, as you can imagine, especially in biz op, you get some pretty nasty emails from mean people who say things that are not at all true. But you can use those to your advantage. Like, don't just throw them out. So this email was like, stop effing emailing me. You're a freaking scammer. That's all it said. I used to get upset about nasty emails like the one I got yesterday. It made me wonder if I was actually helping people or if I was just another guru making money on the internet. But then I started looking through some other emails I've received. People telling me that the info I shared with them has changed their lives, allowed them to quit their job, helped them move to a nicer city, put their kids in a better school, and given them back the family time they're missing out on while at work. So like, you're just speaking to all their pain points and the things that they hate about their job or like they're not satisfied with in their life. And then we throw in some screenshots, testimonials. And after reading all kinds of stories like these, I realized that I probably get 10 positive messages for every nasty one, and that the people with mean comments hadn't even tried what I teach. Simply put, the info I'm sharing is gold. It's truly changing lives, and it makes me smile to know that people are happier because of it. In fact, I've received so many testimonials of life-changing stories. I put all of them onto one page for you so you can look and see proof that what I teach works. So if you want to be the next big successful testimonial, just click the link below and get inspired start on the path to your own online business. So the landing page there just had lots of testimonials, talks about how the program works, and they can book their call. Highly recommend doing like book a call too. Like if you can't think of any products to sell, if you can just create like a done for you or like have a service, you literally just set up a Calendly page, and like services typically are like 2-3 grand or more. And then you close them. And it's like one email gets you a couple sales, and all of a sudden you got 10 extra grand that you didn't have before. So just really think about that. This one's really interesting too. So what I did is I took all the emails, all the replies that I've gotten from asking people what their questions are about email. And then the subject line was Google Doc. And all I did, and by the way, when you like insert a Google Doc in the email, this little blue thing pops up, which is a huge pattern interrupt, and it makes it look like it's directly coming from you. And basically saying like, hey, first name, lately I've received hundreds of questions about email. Well, I do my best to get back to everyone. Sometimes it isn't just possible. So to make up for it, I did something even better. Made a rather unusual Google Doc with answers to literally every imaginable question about email. You can check it out below. If you send emails, this is a gold mine of knowledge. So they're really curious. And when you open this, it's literally a huge FAQ sheet that gives them a ton of value, like so much value, answers all their questions. And I throw in little upsells throughout it if they want to get more help. Also, underneath the link, I put in examples of their questions, because one thing you have to remember when you're writing anything is that people are always going to be really skeptical. People are always going to be like, okay, well, I bet my question isn't in there because my question is more advanced and more unique to me, and nobody else has this question. So all you do is you list out the most common questions, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my question is in there. So it really like changes their mindset and kind of makes them go like, okay, maybe this person understands. One more email I'll show you, because this one crushes in every single niche with testimonials. Oh my gosh. So if you put this little one here, kind of like a browser notification, and you say new message from, and then whatever the person's name is, that's really a good subject line to use for a testimonial. And this one gets very emotional as well. It's basically, hey, first name, and then this is my client's name, from company name. And I wanted to forward this inspiring message I received from Patricia B. And right here, Patricia B basically posted this and said like, she used to hike a lot with her grandkids, and lately she hasn't been able to do that because her knees are hurting her. And she just feels like a fraction of the person she used to be, because like the best part of her life is gone. And like the nostalgia is like wearing away, and like it hurts. So, and then she talked about how she used the supplement, and like her knees are better, and she's out walking again, and she's like with her kids, and like she's so happy to like have back the life she used to have. So then the email continues. Now that is inspiring, because we all have that one big thing that we love to do that sometimes gets harder and harder as we age. It's difficult to think that our best days are behind us and to wonder if we'll ever be able to have the same joy we used to. Some even say it's impossible. But life does not have to be this way, and Patricia is living proof. You just need a proven science-backed solution, not only to look younger, but feel younger too. Because product name can not only help lose weight and soften your skin wrinkles, but even help Patricia's knee pain go down. With stories like this, it's easy to see how close you are to living life on your terms too, and hacking the aging process. You'll feel even more beautiful inside and out, physically and mentally, emotionally and spiritually. Anyway, just click the link below to learn more and try product name for yourself. And always have a wonderful day. So the whole point of me sharing all this stuff is like, do you see how these emails like speak to you? It's not like you're getting emails from a company, hello, we have a big sale today. Or like, did you know that we have benefit X? Like it actually like grabs people and it makes them think, and it's like coming from another human and somebody they can relate to, and somebody that they feel like they could be friends with. So it's a really important distinction to make there. So does anybody have questions about those emails before I kind of go to the next thing?
So would you make every email have a call to action or a sell in it?
Oh, no, actually. So I wrote an email one time about the day my grandpa died. And yeah, I know you're Christian as well, but like I put that at the bottom, and like I thought some people would get mad, but it was on my mind and I wanted to write it. And like I've gotten so many replies from that email, like, oh my gosh, like I can relate to that. This is crazy. I can't believe it. And like their respect level goes like way up. And every email they read after that, like they just like I become like, I don't want it to make it about all about me, but like they become a fan almost because they read that one email.
So
So
would
yeah,
you
like
say like
sometimes,
the Facebook post I put on today, would you send that in an email?
you put, I sorry, I didn't see your post today.
Oh, sorry. It was about like my mom committed suicide, and that's that. Like, there's no sales message to it, but it just, I think, makes people relate to you.
Yeah, I'll
And
have to read it,
would you
but
put
for
something
sure.
like that? Yeah, read that and see what you think.
Yeah, 100%. So like just being authentic and showing people that you're a
Mhm.
person. I know that sounds weird, but like most people show their subscribers that they're a company and all they care about is collecting money from a sale. Like that's what most people do. But when you do the opposite of what most people do, like that's what grabs people. That's what makes them like choose you. Because like Carlotta, there's a million tax people out there. Like, why should people choose you? It's not because that, and now you're probably better than a lot of them, and maybe there's some that are better than you, but the reason people choose you is because they like you. It's not
Right.
because they compared the benefits on an Excel spreadsheet and chose, I mean, maybe some people, but like that like factor is a big part of it, even if they do pull out the spreadsheet. But um, that's like the whole point. But to point out some other things about these emails, they all have a benefit in them, right? So like you have to be very clear, like what's the benefit? Like the Valentine's Day email is just really random. There's no idea of like what was going on. When there's a direct benefit and you can answer the question, like as a reader, they're like, what's in it for me? Because like we're humans, that's our first desire, like selfish desire. Like, what is in it for me? Why should I read this? Why should I click the link? If you don't give them a reason, they're not going to do it. Next thing is curiosity, right? It's like something they haven't heard of before. If I start talking about like, oh, the proper technique to write emails, like you've heard that before, you're out. You haven't, you don't want to do it. Carlisle's like, oh, did you know that you can get a business credit card and like write off expenses? You're gonna be like, I'm out. I've heard that before. But all of a sudden, if it's like, hey, did you know that you can like put your kids on payroll? And it's like, oh, I've never heard that one before. Then you just like dive in. I mean, maybe some of you know that now, but credibility and proof, that's another big one. Testimonials are huge. Everything that I try to put at the beginning of this speaks to that. Time frame to achieve results, that's another really important one, right? So like if I tell you I can make you $5,000, your first question is how long? It's not like if you called a restaurant and they were like, yeah, we can get you in tonight, and they didn't tell you like how long the wait was going to be, you would be like, what the heck? So just remember to always do that. You always want to be specific too. So like if I was on here and I was like, yeah, like, you know, one time I worked with a client, I made them some money. And all of a sudden, if I come on here, I'm like, oh, by the way, I made rep sports 125,176 extra $1,000 after 60 days using these 3 exact methods that I'm going to show you right now. You're like, oh my gosh, there's no way that's made up. That's so specific. Um, Simplicity is another good one. So like, you don't want to complicate things for people too much. Logical reasoning, I know it's the opposite of emotion, but like if you're writing an email and right under the link, you put like, by the way, most people buy 3, so they don't run out of stock. Guess what? Most people are going to buy 3 after they click the link, just by simple logic. Relatability, we kind of talked about that one a big time. In a personal feel, we definitely talked about that. We talked about from names. So like if you're sending from company name right now, like don't send from something that sounds corporate. Don't be like Thompson Associates or something. Like you send the email from Carlotta because Carlotta's a person and people can relate to that. And now GIFs, here's another one. So on the right side of the screen, you'll notice that like most people, when they send emails, their little like profile pic is like a face, like a blank face or a letter or something. Why not like at least have a picture in there so people, so it pops, so it hits people's inbox. Even better, I took it a step further. If any of you are on my email list, I have a GIF and it flashes. And we did the same thing for Chance and Abdul down here. We'd send one email in the morning from Chance and one from Abdul at night. And the profile pic is a GIF that like flashes their faces. And it's literally like dancing at you in inbox. And it's clear to see like, okay, that's going to get a higher open rate, or more eyes are going to be drawn to it because it's flashing, whereas everybody else just blends in because they have the default and never bothered to change it. So that's a really important one. Okay. Mistake number 2 is what I call setting and forgetting. That is when people make automations and they're like, you know what? I want to finish all my email marketing today and I'm going to be all done with it. I'm going to, you know, go out to eat after this and feel good that I never have to touch it again for 30 days or 60 days or however long. Well, that's not the way to do it because that relies on hope. And in business, hope is usually not good. So the symptoms of this are like you throw together automations and you're like, you know what, that looks pretty good. Or like you don't know what to say, you don't know how many emails to put in, you just send them all in advance and try to set and forget. And you have no guarantees when you do that, right? And then I also want to show you my best automation ever. So the way to do this is you are essentially, I'm going to show you three sequences. For sake of time, I'm not going to show the examples again, but if you need them, you can just email me after this and I'll show you some samples. But what you do, let's say you're doing a welcome series. So let's hop into the welcome series kind of format, and then I'll talk about what to do after. So you can literally guarantee sales. Like, I'm not joking. So day one, whatever they bought, you want to deliver that thing and like congratulate them and educate them a little bit on how to use it. Again, if you need templates for anything, hit me up after this. So that's the first thing, because you want to make sure they feel comfortable, they understand what they got, and they're ready to use it. Because if they don't use it, they can't buy again. Then I send them a second email on the first day that just says, like we talked about earlier, what's your like number one question about blank? Reply and let me know. And that way I get to know them. And people who reply are great subscribers. Days 2 to 5, I want to excite them. So I want to show them testimonials, like a social proof email. I want to reassure them and show them like, hey, here's how the product works. Maybe it's a video on how to use it. Maybe it's a video like a customer generated content where somebody else is using it. Or maybe it's just order updates if you're sending something physical. Like people always want to know, like they're very antsy. Like, when am I going to get it? Well, you want to keep them updated. Days 6 to 10, you just want to congratulate them. Let's say it's a physical product, like maybe they received it, and you show them like an unboxing or something like that. Or even if it's an info product you sell, then you can send that much sooner, of course, on like how to use what they got, and like maybe do like a screen share video showing them how to use the product. And basically you want to talk to them while they're high. And I know none of you probably have a CBD company, but high in this case is while they're feeling really good about their purchase, right? So for example, I bought a new iMac for upstairs like yesterday, and I'm like super pumped right now because like it's super new, it's the newest one, it's fast, it's clean, it looks cool. I'm like looking at it on my desk, I'm like, gosh, this thing's amazing. But I'm smart enough to know that material things will never bring me long-term happiness. So next week, I'm not going to be excited about it. So if Apple's smart, they're trying to send the emails right now about buying more and like get the AirPods that go with it, get the whatever accessories go with it. And it's not like a slimy thing at all, right? Like even though I'm not going to be as excited about the Mac next week, it's still very beneficial for me. So if Apple sells me more stuff that benefits me, even if I'm less excited a week from now, it's still benefiting me. So just keep that in mind. Ongoing, maybe you have products that somebody needs to reorder. Maybe after a certain amount of time, they need more help. Maybe they want to be acknowledged, right? So like easy one, let's say you have a supplement. Okay, well, after like 23 days, let's say your shipping takes a week. You want to make sure on day 23, you're like, hey, guess what? It's almost your 1 month anniversary and you're going to need more. So you want to send that to them. Acknowledgement, give them opportunities to be seen, to be bragged about. And opportunity, right? So like maybe there's different things they can do. Maybe there's like something like this where they can take part in a community. And before I go on to the other ones, basically, whenever you're kind of like done with your automation, how many ever days it is, if it's like 5 to 10, somewhere in there, that's usually pretty good. The way you guarantee sales is you don't just write a whole bunch of emails and think like, oh, that looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to go do something else for 30 days. That's the easiest way to get low sales. That's the easiest way for those emails to slip into the spam folder or promo tab. That's the easiest way for you to get frustrated and waste a bunch of time. The best way to guarantee sales is you look back at emails you've written in the past. So like broadcasts, the things that I've showed you before, like when you write good emails, or at least if you write any emails for a long period of time, let's say, you've been in business for a couple of years, I guarantee you have a few emails that have really crushed for you. Like that you've sent out on a random day and like for whatever reason that one resonated, or maybe it was a particular sale or something. Well, you can copy that old email, tweak it so it's evergreen, and just throw it in the automation. Because if it made sales in the past, guess what it's going to do in the future? Exact same thing. So don't guess. And if you don't have it built out yet, that's okay. Let's say you make your automation and then you have like a couple good performing emails from the past, that's okay. Just send like, write daily emails or write, at least several times a week. And then over time, you'll see which ones work. You throw those in the automation and keep going. So for abandoned cart, I'll make this one quick because I kind of explained everything. But the first day, I just keep it really simple. Send them an email like after an hour, and after like 6 hours, it's like, hey, you forgot this. Big picture of the thing, click back and go get it. Day 2, social proof, other people using the product, proof that it works, showing them that it's trustworthy, that they're going to be cool if they use this, things like that. Day 3, FAQ, basically taking every question from like your product page or like a similar product on Amazon, or like questions people have asked you from your reply email that we talked about, and putting those into an email and just answering their questions and giving them a chance to buy. Because some people have really easy questions and they're like, can I buy this for a friend? Or like, how long is shipping? And that's literally what holds them back from clicking the buy button, as silly as it sounds. Next question is it the money? That email crushes. Basically what we do there is we're like, hey, the last couple of days, I've showed you that there's all kinds of proof that this product works. I've answered all your questions about it and made you feel completely comfortable. And you still didn't buy. So I'm guessing the problem is the money. So what I'm going to do for the next 48 hours is I'm going to give you a discount. We don't normally do this because our prices are already so low and my manager might be mad at me, but I'm going to give you a discount for the next couple of days. And then days 5 and 6, you pretty much just push that if you want. You don't have to do a discount for 2 days, you do it for 1 day. It just kind of depends on what your product is. And then the last day, of course, you want to make sure you take away the discount, because if you never take it away, there's never a deadline. And when people don't have deadlines, they don't do things. If you've ever been to college, you know what I'm talking about. So browse abandonment. Now this is one very similar to abandoned cart, but if you don't have this, you are missing out on a ton of money. Basically, anytime somebody clicks a link in one of your emails to go look at a certain product, a certain service, they go to a call booking calendar. And after 1 hour, if they don't book or buy, you need to send a follow-up to them. So what you do in your, and you know, sometimes you'll have to make systems talk to each other with like Zapier, or however, you know, you communicate your store and your email list. What you do, somebody clicks a link to a certain product. They get tagged when they click that link. You put that tag, puts them into an automation. After 1 hour, it checks to see if they bought. If they didn't buy, then they get a follow-up email. And that email pretty much just answers like their objections, or it says like, hey, maybe you forgot, maybe you got distracted. Maybe, you know, like your son ran in the room, or like you had to, or like somebody called you. Like those are real situations that happen. So you always want to give people a good chance to like go back and buy. And it's better than abandoned cart, because abandoned cart, they have to go all the way to the end and put in their email. But if you already have their email, why make them do that again? You're going to lose a lot of people. So I personally get 10 to 15% of my bookings and sales from this, and I would have a lot less money if I didn't have this automation. So highly recommend. Okay, so mistake number 3, I'm going to try to be as concise as possible. This is like my secret sauce here with getting out of the promo tab. Some people we work with literally double their open rates. I'll show you here in a second. But after this, I'm also going to show you how to grow your list fast and free very quickly. So mistake number 3 is you land in the Gmail promo tab or spam folder, and you may not even know it. I'm going to show you how to tell it. I'm going to show you how to fix it. And I call this the email graveyard. Reason being, because typically people, a symptom of this is like open rates below 15%. Now that's not a set number. Yours might be higher, yours might be lower. Some people clean their lists very aggressively and remove a lot of people. So I've seen people that have like 30% open rates and they are still going to promo. So like the list hygiene and like cleaning it doesn't fix it. So if you're not sure where you're landing, you might be landing in promo. So I'm gonna show you how to find out. If people ever ask you like, hey, did you send that email out? And you're like, yeah, I sent it yesterday. And you're just confused, you might be going to promo or spam. If you're one of those people, or if you've heard one of those people, it's like, oh, email is dying. And you feel like all your efforts are wasted and nobody's buying. Maybe it's because they're not seeing your email. Maybe you wrote a beautiful email and just nobody saw it. So to show you a little bit of like before and after, this is a client of mine who's on Klaviyo, again, very big store. They were going to the promo tab. We didn't change any content, no subject lines, no domains, the same products, same everything. We didn't change anything. We just got them into the primary tab. This was before. This email had a 9% open rate, did 5K in revenue, went to 255,000 people. This next email, exact same one, same product, same everything, 29%, 6.7K in revenue. It only went to 133,000 people, made more money, even though it went to 40% less people, basically. These ones are a better example because they have the same list size, but this one went from 14% and 4.5K in revenue to, 1 second, here it goes, 26% and 7.2K in revenue. And then this last one went from 11.8% and 3.7K in revenue all the way up to, I don't know why it's lagging, 24% and 8.8K in revenue. So literally from 11 to 24, from 3.7K to 8.8K. Literally all we did was make it land in the primary tab. That's it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The solution is, the first thing you want to do is you open a new Gmail account. Don't use one that you've used before, because that one's very biased, because you open and click all your own emails. And the algorithm plays into this, right? So open a new test account. Step 2 is you just go into settings and you uncheck conversation view. This helps me because if you have an email with the same subject line and you're testing it, and like one goes to promo and one goes to primary, then it's like they're going to stack on top of each other and it's messy. So just trust me on this one. Step 3, you just send an email to the test account and you see where it lands. That's all you do. Very simple. It's either going to go to primary, promo, or spam. So if the email lands in primary, great, you're good to go. And then you should focus on the other things in this presentation. However, if the email lands in promo, you have to choose the hard way or the easy way. So the hard way is kind of like the guess and check method. So basically you write the email and you keep testing it over and over. If you've ever written an email and you like try to tweak the subject line and you try to like take out the part about the sale or the discount and try to like remove the words that might put you into promo or spam, and you just kind of like guess and check. And it works sometimes. It takes like 30 to 60 minutes per email. And sometimes it doesn't work. And sometimes there's all kinds of issues where it works for a little bit and then it quits working. So the success rate is like a little bit less than half. There's a lot of guesswork. My way that I do, which is discovered by doing it the hard way for so long, takes about 30 to 60 extra seconds in email. Success rate is close to 100. For some people it is. And instead of removing and editing spammy words, we add non-spammy words to the email. Now there's a compliant way to do this. You can't do invisible text like people used to do with like keyword stuffing on Google back in the day. But what you do is you come up with a custom brand like story or like a disclaimer or like whatever it is that's relevant to your business. And it's usually not too long, maybe like a little paragraph, and you paste it at the bottom of the email. That's literally all you do. And what that does is it reduces the percentage of promotional content in the email. So let's say your email is this long and it's like 20% promotional. Now it's this long and it's only like 15% promotional. I don't know where that percentage is. It kind of depends on your past sending history, but the algorithm has like a certain percentage for you where the email goes to primary or promo. So if you find that like story that works for you and you paste it in, you reduce that percentage and it goes straight in the primary tab. And that's how we like got those open rates so high. And again, like people pay me a lot of money to do this, but I'm literally telling you how to do it. So in worst case scenario, we usually find a 50 to 70% increase in open rates. So for example, if you have 10% open rates, that means you're now at 15 to 17%. Now that's kind of like a rough estimate, right? So like it's different for everybody. But if you look at money, every 10K you used to make from your list is now 15 to 17K. So like that's where those big gains come from, right? So like our best case scenario made 133% more. That was that 11% to 24%. From 3.7K to 8.8. That's way more than double, which is nuts. And that company makes an extra 3 to 5K per email. Again, they're very, very big companies. But anyway, now for the bonus, and we'll get to questions here in a second, but the 3 fastest ways that I grow my list for free. So the first one, really quick, I want to ask too, just to keep everybody watching and looking at this. How much more do you think you would make if you implement these things? Go ahead and type that in the chat. And I'm just kind of curious what people think. And then we will kind of get on to the next thing. If you don't have any idea, that's okay too, but I'm kind of curious, based on your list size and all that, how much more you would make if you did all the things that we've taught so far. It's okay if you're not sure. I'll just move on to the next thing. Carlotta says at least 10 more packages. That may be true. So a lot of people think the same thing. As you can see, we've got a lot of testimonials from people who did that. So the next thing here is, all right, you say your goal would be 10K. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you for sharing. So the fastest way, this is like the bonus section here for sticking with me, is the fastest way to regrow your email list for free is to understand that you've got an active list and an inactive list, right? So like you've got people that you send to, and you've got people, not like unsubscribed people, but people that have been on your list for way too long and they're not active anymore, they don't open anymore. Well, the reason they may not be opening is because you're going to their promo tab, you're going to their spam folder. So once you fix that problem and you mail all the people who haven't opened in like 3 to 6 months, you literally just send them one email. And the email goes basically like where you change the from name. So instead of Troy Erickson, I would put like TE as the from name, which is my initials. And then the subject line would be remember me. And then in the email, it'll be like, hey, first name, Troy Erickson here. Remember me? I'm the guy who teaches about how to make more money from email marketing. Perhaps you've seen my anti-promo tab code ads on Facebook. The reason I'm reaching out today is because we haven't been in touch lately and I wanted to give you this free bonus. And then I'll just like link them to some free bonus I have that's valuable. I'll be like, hey, also be sure to look out for my upcoming emails in the future. I got something special for you. So that's like how you write this. So one of my clients sent this out, actually several have, and for some reason 9,000 is like the magic number for some of the bigger clients we work with. This guy named Marcus, he has a stock trading business. He says, I sent out the re-engagement email to my list yesterday. Holy cannoli, we added almost 10,000 contacts to our active subscriber list. So let's say Marcus gets leads for like $3 a piece. He just found 9,000 of them. That's like 27 grand that Marcus just found, and literally taking 5 minutes to send an email. So that's how you can grow your list for free, is taking people who are inactive, fixing your deliverability problems, re-emailing them, and now they're active again. So number 2, so I don't know if you guys ever do JVs, if you ever do like affiliate promotions with other people, but that is the number one way to like make sales, grow your list, get your face out there all at the same time. Again, I'm not sure if you all are familiar with direct response marketing, but Rich Sheffrin, he's the guy that grew like Agora really, really big. And he's like the coach to all the coaches these days. I got on a JV with him using the strategy I'll mention in a moment. There's also Phil Rivers, he's big in email. He is the guy that runs another agency. I did a JV with him. And then there's Paul Mahoney, the speaker that I mentioned. I think he's from Ireland. So if you're from around there, which none of you probably are, then he is kind of known there. But basically the strategy here is on your normal like Zoom calls and in your network, whenever you get on one with somebody, and before the call, you're just like, hey, do you mind if I talk to you for like 5 minutes after this call? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then you talk to them on the call, you give them a ton of value, you help them so much, like tremendously, like do everything you can to help them. And after the call, you're like, hey, by the way, I just want to talk really quickly. I know you and I are like very similar, or like we have a similar audience. How would you feel about like promoting my offer X, like whatever it is that you promote? And I'll give you, X% of all the sales we make. All you have to do is send a couple emails to your list. Does that sound good to you? And obviously, the conversation and your relationship with that person ebbs and flows, and it's different in every situation. But in general, you just literally, like whenever you talk to them, you just give them value, and then they have reciprocity for you. I have a podcast called the Secrets of Scale podcast. I love the podcast. It gives my audience a lot of value. However, my main goal of the podcast is I get people on it, and then they talk to me and they're like super hyped. And then afterwards, I'm like, hey, do you want to promote my offer? And they're like, of course I will, because they're so high on like that podcast feeling. And the one with Rich, since he's like a really big internet marketer, it's 70 grand, literally from one video we did together. You can either do it as a live video where you like promote it, kind of like Carlotta did the webinar, or you can just have them send emails to their list about you. So it's really up to you and your capacity and how much you like to be seen by other people. But I highly recommend that you do that because it can grow your list and it can make you a lot in a short amount of time. The last one, I kind of alluded to this earlier, is if you go on sites like Podcast Hawk or RadioGuestList.com, there's literally people who are like, hey, I need somebody on my show. I need somebody who wants to be on my podcast. And they're actively looking. So instead of messaging people and like hoping that they need a guest, like these people are saying, hey, I need a guest. And they tell you like what they're looking for. And if you're in their niche, you just literally email them and you're like, hey, like I loved episode 12 where you talked about XYZ, and you try to relate to them. And then you mention a little bit about yourself, say like, hey, if it's a good fit, great. Just reply to this email and let me know. And that's how I got on podcast with Onyx and Noel recently. So I had that screenshot earlier, I believe. Some right there in the middle. So that's how I got on that one. And it's also through a guy that I knew. So it kind of helps to know people and build your network and get on Zoom, and like we talked about. It's like most of you do that already. It's just that you haven't like gone the extra step and asked. Like sometimes I'm afraid to ask for things I need help with, but when you do it, it's a really big leap for you. So now my question, can you actually make $125,000 extra dollars? Could you make 10% of that, 12K? So the answer is like, it's a lot more likely. And again, I'm not here to hard pitch, but if you want me to do this for you, I'm going to put my link on the next slide. How much you make really depends on the size of your list, if you have good offers and funnels, and how much of the stuff you've already done. Maybe you've kind of like done some of it already. So like how often you send, how your deliverability is doing. So basically what I do, I don't do sales calls. What I do is basically I'm going to show you essentially what I do for clients and how to like get checked essentially. So the first thing is we write and send an email for you every single day using all the principles you've seen today. We generated over 25 million for our clients with that. We're also going to build out the automations I showed you, and we're going to guarantee all your emails in the primary tab. If you do those things, you're going to make a heck of a lot more money. So the link below, if you go to scaleyourlist.com, what we're going to do, Allison and Dennis on my team, their job is literally just to look at people who fill out the form on that page, and they get on Zoom and they help you estimate how much more you're going to make. If you don't want to do it, that's totally fine. And they'll even give you like a copy of the presentation today. And if you do want to do it, great. So that's my soft pitch. I don't want to be a hard pitch kind of guy, but scaleyourlist.com is how you can get help with this. If you're like, you know what, I don't want to do this, do it for me. So with that being said, does anybody have any questions about the presentation? Do I need to be clearer about anything? Is there anything that I can help with?
Guys, that was so good. Oh my gosh. I just feel like I got 1,000 freaking ideas. So put your questions in. If you're on here from our team, think of some of your clients that can use this. Like I thought of like Spangler. I also thought of Melissa on that one that's, so Melissa, you need to watch the replay of the one where the shipping one. Let me think about this. Any other ones that, any questions, if you're on my team and you're like, my client needs this, any questions you can ask Troy to send the clients, make sure you send the clients like, hey, I saw this, I thought about you. What is one email, Troy, this is a question for you. What is one email you would send to get like on the first opt-in? I've gotten some emails before that's like, ask me a question and I respond. And I'm like, oh, this is a stupid double. It's almost like a double, to make sure that they don't go to spam. Do you have any suggestions on like that first email to make sure that they don't ignore it the first time?
Yeah, so I mean, the email you're referencing where they're like asking for a reply. So replies are great, right? Because like it's all algorithm based. It's like if somebody opens your email, if they click a link, if they reply, if they favorite, if they forward, if they have the email open for a long time, like those are all positive actions that help your deliverability. The only problem with the one that you mentioned that whoever was using is they didn't ask a specific question. If you go up to somebody, you're like, hey, ask me a question. They're like, I don't know what to ask. But if you ask them, you're like, hey, what's your number one question or problem with blank? Then you're giving them a prompt. So that I usually send that like a couple hours after the welcome email. But I can try to pull up a sample like welcome email. Actually, let me look for that on my other screen. In the meantime, Jason asked, how do you start growing your email list? So I mentioned a bunch of free ways that you can do it. But one thing that I want to reiterate too, and I think most of you know this, is like, this is email marketing, right? It's very consistent. It's been around 20, 25 years. It can make you a lot of money, but what's going to make you more money is having a good offer, having a good funnel. So if you have a good offer and a good funnel, and we talked about that a little bit before, it can be a very complex subject. But if you have a good offer and you can run paid traffic consistently, that is when you will win. If you can run Facebook ads and where it's just constantly showing your ads to people are constantly coming through your funnels, buying stuff, ending up on your email list where then you can implement all this stuff. That's how you make a lot of money, right? So like the offers is the most important thing. Funnels are next. Ads and email are kind of tied, right? Because it's like you can acquire, like if you don't acquire people, you don't have a business. But if you like only acquire people and they never buy from you again, you also don't really have a good business. So it's like you just have to think about the priority of things. And I don't know anything about your business, but that's just one thing I wanted to like reiterate there.
How do you do the picture? Are you using Active Campaign or what are you using?
I am. And then really quickly, let me answer your question.
Okay, okay.
So this is just a random product that I have that shows people how to make money when people unsubscribe from their list, which is another nifty secret. Basically, on the unsubscribe page, when it's like you've been unsubscribed, you just put a little like downsell offer there. But anyway, so people buy this, and the welcome email says link the unsub secret training video, and then pretty much says like congrats on discovering. I can't wait to hear your success. I'm going to link you to it to the video in a second, which is like a tutorial. I want to let you know this is different than everything else and everyone else that you've heard before. And my goal is to share all the strategies, secrets, and info you need to scale your list beyond 100K a month, because that's what we do here. And pretty much tell them that the links to the videos below, explain a little bit about what they're going to learn and like how they can implement it. Let them know they can ask any questions and then drop the link. So that's like a welcome email for when people buy a product. As far as opting in, you pretty much just like do the same thing, but you just like, they're not sold on it yet, right? Like they opted in, but you really have to like hype up the training they're about to watch or the letter they're about to read, and just like kind of talk about like how this is going to change their life, and not just from like a benefit and fact standpoint, but like an emotional standpoint, like how's their life going to change, and doing all those things. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, what was your other question?
How you put the video like on Active
Oh, yeah.
Campaign, how you
Oh,
do.
by the way, yeah, here's this thing I'm talking about, how it's like a GIF and it flashes.
Yes, how do you do that?
So all I did realistically was like click here and then click this thing, and then you can like upload a picture, or a GIF in this case.
So that's coming from your Google. That's on your Google though, not.
Yeah, Active Campaign pulls it from wherever your inbox is hosted. So I'm on G Suite, so it pulls it from G Suite or Google Workspace, as they call it.
Oh, where's ours hosted, Savannah? Because it's pulling, it's like sending from like, it's not sending from me at carlotta@carlottathompson.com. It's sending from me at like some kind of thing from Active Campaign.
Yeah, you'll want to fix that too. I can hop in and take a look at it for you if you want me to.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I just know all my stuff's going to spam right now, so I probably just need to. But the doors are closing on my offer, and I'm like, I wish somebody could see. All right, so Vapul has a question.
Really quickly. One of the best opportunities you can make an email is when you mess up. So like if you send out an email that's just like oops, and you run like a little like some kind of promotion or sale or special, or like they get a bonus because you messed up and like they didn't get the email or they didn't see the training. Like I've had emails before where I accidentally sent out an email instead of like using the first name thing. They all had my name on it. It went out to like 250,000 people, and it was like, hey Troy. And they were all replying because like they don't understand email. It was like people who buy kids books. So it was like grandparents, and they're like, who is this Troy guy? And then we just sent out a sale the next day. I was like, hey, like our email guy messed up and we're sorry about that. So we're going to like run a big sale. And it was like our best sale ever. So like, it's just crazy what we can do with that.
So Vapul said, yes, I know I say his name wrong. Yes. So I have a ton of people on my list who are, who, as we own hotels, I just need to start marketing to them. Should I schedule a call?
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. I can't tell you how much money we could possibly make you, or if it's even a good fit to work together unless you schedule, right? And we'll be honest with you. There was one guy who booked with me one time, and he was like, dude, I've seen your ads. I need you to get me out of the promo tab. We tested all his emails, tested like 10. Only one went to promo. And I was like, hey man, I don't really think you need the service. And he was like showing me his credit card on like dangling it on Zoom. And I was like, dude, like I'm not going to sell to you. And then like I actually wrote an email about that, and that crushed. So like I just use stories that are applicable to my life. But
Yeah.
like if you want to find out, just book. Like if it's not a good fit, we'll talk.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all about having an offer. Like you got to have an offer. If you don't have anything, Troy's not going to be able to help you sell more because, it might be that you need an offer that would be a good fit for people who've stayed at your hotel. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, hotels are interesting because it's kind of a local business, but you're reaching people who don't live there. But yeah, you can 100%, because like you'd be surprised how many people revisit the same area because they have a family member in town, and not just because there was some big event, or like they like visit because every month they like to go to some random obscure like event that you've never heard of before. It's not just like, oh, the Super Bowl's in town, or like this is in town. Like you'd be kind of surprised, but like I said, we'll help you evaluate it and kind of figure it out.
Yeah. Well, this was so good, Troy. And if guys, I know it's past 4 o'clock, so definitely we'll send out the replay. That's where we get most of our people. We'll reach out to our clients that we know can use this. So Kayla, if you've got some thoughts on like who could use this, and make sure that you put the where it is in the replay. And then everybody else, does anyone else have any questions about this? Melissa, I think you definitely need to go and rewatch it back from the beginning, because I think there's a lot of stuff you guys could use. Anyone else have any questions for Troy? I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I know this has been super helpful for me. Just my mind's blown right now, as this was something that was so super needed.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we use MailChimp, but we don't have a set schedule of when the email should go out. Okay, so Melissa says we use MailChimp, but we don't have a set schedule of when the email should go out. So Melissa, they have a firearms type business where they've got a couple of different kinds of businesses, but I think they make silencers or something like that. Anyway, and they can't use email, or they can't use Facebook. So I think email is like, that would be top. That would be amazing for them.
Yeah, one
Because
thing
they
that's nice is
continuously
like
sell them.
all these platforms are silencing people these days. It's like they'll ban you if they don't agree with you. But like email, like first of all, to get kicked off your ESP, you'd have to do something like pretty crazy. And if they ever do kick you off, you have a CSV. Like they can't legally take that away from you because you own it. So you just take a CSV of all your subscribers and you go to a different one and you start mailing. And there's other ones that are more acceptable and they don't really care what you say.
Yep, exactly. So I think, Melissa, that would be huge for you, because you already have all their emails from when they bought their first thing. And if you did some of this, I think it would be a game changer for you guys. Obviously everything's a game changer for you guys. You're good. You guys are growing so freaking fast, but awesome. Well, so Rochelle said, I was having technical trouble at the beginning and missed how long you've been doing this. It's obvious that you're an expert in your field, and I love that you're at this stage in your life. Congratulations on the accomplishment. Awesome. So anybody else have any questions? If you want to, you can book with Troy. He's one of our clients, guys. We want to make sure that one of our clients, he's in this group, he's in Profit Pathway, he's one of us, and we don't, we're not trying to he's not hard selling you. He's offering you an option if you want his help. But hopefully this has been super helpful for you, even if you don't get on with him. I know it's been super helpful for us. So I thank you guys, and I will see you guys next Wednesday.
Thanks for having me, Carla. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Troy, for sure. Okay, so